don't fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Tarka Said Again. And today we have with us Mr. Deke Warner, who is a fitness promoter for bodybuilders.
Yes, I am.
All right, just all type.
All type of categories: bodybuilding, bikini competition, wellness competition, figure competition, men's physique, classic men's physique as well.
So you heard all the categories. Now, I met him at the NPC Florida State Championship, right?
Yes, ma'am. We held it August 9th in Claremont at the Claremont Performing Arts Center. We had a lot of great athletes from all over the United States to compete for the state of Florida.
Right. And listen, I was in awe, y'all. I know you all saw the little snippets of the interviews and so on and so forth, because I had never experienced the pro league as far as when we talk about bodybuilders, those that like take this weightlifting thing for real.
Yes, it's serious out there. It's really, the competitors, they're really serious about what they are trying to accomplish within their own physiques. We had pro athletes, which have been doing it a lot longer than the amateurs, most of them. They have prize money for the pros, and the amateurs basically get sculpted awards and other different amenities that they get along with their victory.
Wonderful. Like I'm not going to stop saying I was amazed, even down to the tanning, seeing the people being sprayed, backstage.
Well, the reason why they have to get spray tan is because up under the bright lights, they want to be like one shade, so it won't be like a shadow on the body. Because the bright lights, once the bright light hit them, they want to have that nice glow to them instead of having that light spot, dark spot, different shades on stage. So we have bright lights. So when they do the tanning, they make sure they are very balanced as far as the coating is done. As a black person, you also have to have a tanning done as well, because, of course, none of us are not solid color. Right. So you have to have that nice blend in where it projects the muscle physique much better up on the highlighting.
Okay. Hey, you educating us already as far as this tanning process. But I want to back up a bit, because I want to know, how did you get started with this? Giving me some backstory on you when you were once competing as a bodybuilder.
I started back when I was in the military, back in Fort Bragg. I was a football player back during that time, and I got into weightlifting. My mentor at that time, his name was Mike Ashley. He was the current Mr. North Carolina. That's why I was stationed in North Carolina. And I kind of, from football, had a little basic injury, got into weight training, just strengthening up the body part that I needed strength as far as getting prepared to play football again. So I got into it that way. And actually, when I got into it, I was on my way, getting ready to get out the military.
Okay.
And I kind of carried on from there. I had always been an athletic kind of guy. And that was my way of staying focused on things that I wanted to do in life. And I got into weight training a little bit more. Got a little bit more detail in all the different nuance that was going on during that time. And it just worked out to where I started competing. I was the first Black Mr. Orlando. Yeah, so.
Okay, history in the building.
Little history there. I was the first Mr. Orlando as far as African American guy being able to win the title. From there, I went on to win the Central Florida title the same year. And I took some time off to learn my body a little bit more because I was experimenting. I was winning, but I was experimenting because I really didn't know exactly what I was doing as far as the nutrition part.
Okay.
That is 75% of your prepping as far as getting ready to get on stage, because you want to eat. You got to eat a certain way in order to get your body to look the way you want to. You have to eat a certain way. The training part is 25% of it, which is easy because that's something you love doing. The hardest part is the 75% part of it, which is the eating part. And you want to make sure that your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fibers, you want to make sure everything is you have to balance them out. So it's kind of like a trial and error prior to you prepping for a show. Most time, people prep anywhere from 12 weeks to 20 weeks out from a competition. So it's a strategy that you have to come together with as far as your meal preps, how many meals you're going to eat a day, the time of day, et cetera, like that. So there's a lot involved with overall.
Sounds like it.
Oh, yes.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I know we had the opportunity. There was one young lady there, and she shared some of the more specifics of what you just shared of the type foods that she was eating.
Yes.
So basically, just a change of diet.
Oh yes, it's I mean the most part of it is mental. It's not just putting food together, training, et cetera. You have to really be mentally focused in order to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. It's like most people outside of them going to compete on stage. If you're trying to lose weight, you know, that mental part, the focus part, where you talk to yourself, this is what I need to do. Once you get down to a point where you know exactly which way you want to go, it takes about 2 weeks for it to sink in. Once after the 2 weeks of getting yourself prepared, eating the certain meals that you need to eat, the certain type of foods, after 2 weeks, it gets a little bit easier as far as having your meal prep. Like, for instance, myself, when I was preparing for competition, I would prepare all my meals on Sunday. Back during this time, I was eating a lot of chicken breasts. So I would have several pans of chicken breasts baked, no skin. I would bake a whole, say for instance, like 12 pieces of chicken breast, bake them, and I would have my meals set up along with brown rice, broccoli, or either asparagus. It's a lot of different other things that I can throw in there. But anyway, I would prepare them according for the next day. I would have, for instance, 4 meals. I would eat at certain times. About every 2.5 to 3 hours, I would eat a meal. But everything was already prepared. That way, if you start getting in the mode of eating low fat, which chicken is one of the lowest fat foods that you can eat as far as your protein wise. So when you break down that as far as your body to lose the body fat, you're going to crave more foods. And then along with your carbohydrates, you're setting your standard at a certain level, say like 150 grams to 200 grams per day. You will break your meals down, say for instance like 20 hours. You would break your meals down like 50, 50, 50, 50, and them 4 meals. That would end up being 200 grams of carbs per day. Along with your chicken breast, you have a certain amount of chicken breast that you would consume, like 33, 35 grams, not grams, but 35 grams of protein that you would consume per meal. So you add that up throughout the day. Your fibers, you really don't kind of add too much of that in there because it goes right through you. But your fibers would help cleanse you. As time go, your body get used to it, and you get hungry throughout the day, and you find out, hey, what's going on here? You be hungry, all of a sudden you just finished eating. Within 2 to 3 hours prior to the next meal, you find yourself hungry. So in order to not steer going to cheat, we call it cheat meal. When you go and get you something, a snack, something that you shouldn't have, candy, honey bun, something sweet.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you usually crave when you're eating strict, is something sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to avoid that, you may have a handful of natural almonds, or have yourself a rice cake, a plain rice cake, or you may have yourself something like a scoop of peanut butter. Once that's a good natural fat that your body can consume. Because once your body starts breaking down the fat, it creates more food. So you want to substitute that extra with something like almonds.
A little bit more healthier.
Yeah.
I prefer the almonds out of what you just said. The almonds. But in listening to all of the breakdown and paying attention to the measurements, the various grams and whatnot, it seemed like establishing that routine, like you said, having the mindset and establishing those routines. And I also heard you mention that it gets easier the more you do it. So that just puts me back to where they know I always talk about addictive patterns.
Oh, yes.
So that what we do in repetition. And that's a positive, right?
Yes,
and
it is.
And as a former bodybuilder and still being in that arena, I say you all are addicted to your workouts, your training, your diet, all of that. So that's a positive addictive pattern.
No doubt. You want to see, the thing is, it's a way of life for most people that's in this circle. It's a way of life, because a lot of people in their family, they have found out that their family member have had, high cholesterol, or a heart disease, or some type of ailment that is passed along. So you can avoid, not totally eliminate, because certain things you can avoid. Genetically wise, that DNA is powerful.
Right.
It may skip. It may go from your grandparents to great grandparents. It may skip a generation and catch on to the next one. Like that. So if you want to be aware of what type of illness that your family have had in history, so that way you can steer your eating habits away from certain types of foods that you consume. You can always minimize some of the issues that you may have had in your family. Minimize it by lowering certain type of foods that you have. That will help you minimize the whatever problem that your family may have had. Like, for instance, cholesterol. You can always avoid that. There's certain type of vitamins that you can use for that.
And diabetes.
That's one of the major ones in the black community is diabetes. And a lot of people don't really take diabetes serious. They think the doctor, I'm gonna go ahead and do this and do that. Diabetes is really from actually getting back to the sweets. That right there, you have to, that sugar, it's deadly. A lot of people don't realize that, but that sugar, it can take you out. Once you start having little things that happen to you, and as far as having diabetes, it prolongs if you're not exercising, drinking fluids like you need to, eating the correct way, it will shorten your life.
Yes, definitely. And just listening to you, you're on target again, back to the book, Addictive Patterns, because I always say addictive patterns can be three things. And you talked about it going from one generation to another, or possibly skipping. That's dealing with that DNA or what's hereditary. That's one, and then we talk about learned behaviors, and that could be the type of eating, the foods that you grew up on. Sometimes we may continue because that's what we knew, right? Growing up, that's what mama cooked, that's what daddy cooked. But then sometimes we get away from it. It's like, because we know it's not healthy for us, and we try to break those, as I say, my third thing is those generational habits of things.
But nowadays, versus 20 or 30 years ago, the foods are not as pure as it used to be. So actually, your parents, your grandparents, etc., actually they lived longer versus today because of the different ingredients that they put in the foods. Just take, for instance, nectar, say a fruit. It has to come from, say, coming from Mexico. Well, they have to use chemical spray to put on that fruit to get it from point A to point B. You know, so that chemical, what is that chemical actually doing? So you're not really getting the purity of that fruit. The only thing it's doing is maintain the fruit until it gets here, and then you never know how long it's going to be before it's put out there on the shelf for somebody to purchase. So that's how long I couldn't tell you the words of the different type of chemicals that they would use, but they're using chemicals. Right. I know that much.
We just hear them say like pesticides or something like that.
But that's a chemical that's prolonging that fruit, the vegetables, anything that we get, especially right now we having issues with what's going on around the world. We can't have our fruits and everything picked now because we're having the issue with in the United States with the tariffs going on with the farmers. They don't have anybody to pick the fruit, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, that's going to prolong the vegetables, the fruits, and all these different things that you get even longer. And then when you get it, by the time you get it from point A to point B here, how long is it going to be up to be able to sell it? So therefore, they got to put more chemicals on it in order to maintain the freshness on the prolong it in order the life of that. Yeah, you know, so it's a good conundrum right now. What's going on?
Exactly, and that's the perfect word for it, because I'm a witness of where you talk about spraying those chemicals, because not only the fruit that you mentioned, but I know for a fact, like cherries. I love cherries, but because of whatever different fruits, I get an allergic reaction.
Oh yeah.
It's like my throat starts to itching, and you know.
Hey, getting back to that, just that alone, when you go to your doctor, and your doctor's gonna always ask you if they're gonna prescribe some type of prescription for you. Are you allergic to this? Are you allergic to that? Well, we consuming foods that we don't know that we're allergic to until we bite into it. Once we bite into it and we have a side effect from it, and then you be trying to figure out. Me, myself, always picture kind of photo memory backwards, rewind to find out what did I have to eat today.
Right.
And then you're like, I had this, I had this, I had this. And you can kind of figure out what you had that you don't normally have.
Right.
And pinpoint where it's coming from.
Right.
But I mean, that's easy said than done, but it's kind of hard when you're running around doing so many different things. You know, it's kind of hard to pinpoint it accurately.
Right.
But most of the time, that's why the doctors always ask you, are you allergic to this, allergic to that? Because they don't want to be liable for that.
Right. Well, continuing, do you feel, because you gave us a little bit about you as a bodybuilder, do you feel that the standards as a bodybuilder, if it has changed from when you were participating to now overall?
Oh, yes. Overall, it has changed tremendous. Actually, the guys are bigger.
Okay.
The guys are much bigger.
Okay.
When I came along, it was only just two categories.
Okay.
It was men bodybuilding and women bodybuilding.
Wow.
Yes. It was just those two categories.
Okay.
And as years have gone past, sport have evolved into a much larger. They have fitness now. They have fitness, meaning women's fitness, where they do a lot of different acrobatical movements on stage to music, show flexibility, strength on that category. Then you have women's physique. Women's physique is similar to like a women's bodybuilding. The women's bodybuilding has pretty much died down because the women was getting a little bit too big, too muscular.
Okay.
So it's still out there, but not as more prevalent as it used to be. They're going to more of a athletic type body, muscle, but not overly muscular. They want to keep that. They're trying to keep that feminine to to the overall package that the women's physique. Then you have figure. Figure is like a ballerina doll, where they just stand and they judge the physique from front, the side, to the rear, to the side, and back to the front. Overall symmetrical body with balance. Then you have bikini competition. Bikini is more of your Barbie doll type physique, but also a little bit of muscularity, not very much, a little bit of muscularity, nice, nice symmetry, nice lines that we would as a judge, we have that criteria of what to actually look for. So the nice lines on that, very feminine, very elegant in the movements. Then we also have wellness now. Wellness is a new one. Yeah, it's probably been around, maybe about 4 or 5 years now. Whether young ladies are muscular, but not too muscular up top, but they have massive legs. And their quads are nice. Most of the women in that are usually, they're short. They're around 5'6" and under.
So I would be in that class.
in that category there, because of the shortness of the height-wise, their body parts are different. Their body parts are a little bit more thicker in the glutes, in the quad area. They're a little bit thicker versus their outfits are similar to bikini outfits, but it's like a little bit more of them. As far as the glutes and the quads. Then we have the men's physique. Men's physique is like, I remember growing up, you always look at these guys that was they had this, it was always in a magazine or something where you see these guys on the beach, little really skinny guy on the beach, and a big guy come along, kick sand in his face.
Oh, goodness.
And okay, the guy, he said he started working out. He had this nice structured upper body, but small legs, not too balanced. Legs are much smaller versus the upper body. So basically, we judging mostly from the waist up. As far as the body wise, they have boy shorts on that goes from the waist to the knee area. So we can't see the quads of the person. We can see the calf muscle, but not the quads. So we basically judging the symmetry of the upper body, the upper torso. We're starting to judge the lower half as well now, because we try to keep them balanced. You don't want them too massive up top and then they're too small. Low. So that's a different criteria. Then you have the classic physique, which is the type of physique that Arnold Schwarzenegger had back when he was coming along. More of a classic physique, broad shoulders, narrow hips, not too massive in the legs, just nice flowing lines. So that's kind of like a spin off bodybuilders. Bodybuilders are more thicker, and muscularity. The muscularity is much bigger. Classic is a little bit more combination of the men's physique, but they have better legs than the men's physique. They have better legs, and their lines, they have great lines, broad shoulders, narrow in the waist. The legs are flowing, but not the big muscular legs that you would see on a bodybuilder. It's a little bit different in that category. So, and we also have people that's in wheelchairs that compete as well. You have some of the athletes that are in wheelchairs or have disabilities. They may be blind, or they may be missing a limb, or what have you. And, they still get up there and compete and what have you. And many of the cases, I have seen many of athletes that have that disability and they win. Because it's the package that you present, the overall package that you present. So it's not an easy task.
Right, because that's what I was going to ask, because like I witnessed you in the promoting role, right? And I was going to ask, as your experience, like when you were a competitor, how did that influence you as a judge today? And like keeping up with all of that, because you just broke it down in the categories and remembering all that. Do y'all have like a cheat sheet or something to remember, okay, I'm looking for this specifically, like.
Well, we have our, as judges on NPC, which stand for National Physique Committee.
Okay.
Then we also have the iffb Pro Division, actually Pro League. The different categories, that's IFBB Pro League is for the pros, and then the NPC, which is National Physique Committee, they're for the amateurs. So we have a criteria that we judge as far as the NPC goes. All categories have their own specific category as far as the criteria, what we're actually looking for. So we have to basically the criteria that we're going by, we have to project that from what we're looking at on stage. Sometimes it don't turn out the way we want as far as the criteria, but what we have to do as judges, we have to pick the best physique that we feel that's close to the criteria, even though the criteria depends on what show you go to. Some they're working on it in order to get to the criteria that we're actually looking for them to project on stage. They're working on it. Okay. But we have to project, we have to pick and choose what we are judging in front of us that particular day.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you've definitely given us some key factors in telling us about the criteria. So my last question I have for you would be, what advice would you give a competitor today that would help them stand out from their competition?
The only advice I would give an individual, because you won't be the only one that's trying to get to that goal as far as on stage. The only thing you could possibly do is do your very best to get as good as you possibly can. And you can't worry about this person, that person. Focus on yourself in order to be the best that you possibly can. If you have questions about various things that you need to know, do not hesitate to talk to someone that you feel that you're comfortable with in order to ask questions, in order to feed that mental part that you may be missing. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Everybody can have a tendency to feel that, well, that person don't know this, that person. You'd be surprised at how many people know a lot of different things. You just have to ask questions. If you don't ask the question, you may not never get the answer to what you're looking for. So even me, I've been doing this a long time. I'm always asking questions.
Yeah, that's how you learn.
I mean, that's how you learn. You have to ask questions and just be the best that you possibly can be. If you see a picture of somebody and you say, oh, I want to look like that person, you can't look like that person. Reason being, that person's genetics is totally different than yours. The DNA comes from somebody else. Your DNA came from your parents. That DNA came from their parents. So unless you tied together as a family member or something like that, you can halfway possibly look close to that person, but not exactly like that person. Right. Even being a family member, them genes are different. Right. It goes a long ways, and it depends on how dedicated you are to trying to achieve your goal. You have to be 110% focused on the task in order for you to get to where you want to go. If you're going to be, well, I'm going to skip this day, skip that day. Well, when you're skipping them days, remember, if you want to get on stage, that person that's next to you, as you miss days, this person been still going hard. Right. So you can tell who put the work in and the person who don't put the work in. You don't want to get up on stage and then you realize, say, oh, I shouldn't have ate this. I shouldn't have had this. I should have put more time in this, more emphasis on this. You have to put the time in. Also, what's very important as well is a person preparing yourself, not only with your training and the eating. You have to learn to perform on stage on whatever category that you're in. You have to put that time in there, because if you get up on stage and you're not performing correctly, you may have the best physique up there. But if you can't show it the way you need to show it, you're not going to win. The person that's closer to your physique may not be in the best condition, but the overall package looks really good. Versus your package that you're getting up there and you don't know what you're doing. Well, you'll find out once the scores come out, and you'll wonder why. Like, how did I lose? I looked the best out of everybody. Did you present it correctly?
Yeah, that presentation.
You have to have a great presentation.
Confidence.
You got to have that confidence, that swag. You got to have it. If you don't have it, you better find it before you get up on stage.
That makes sense. That confidence, seeing it permeate, and reflect coming through your physique, with those smiles and those facial expressions. Because I got a chance to see it, Some people, doing their poses and different things, and some smiled bigger, some just had the movement with it, just everything. Almost like talking, and like I have a nonprofit, and I always say it's like speaking but without words, from that body language. Yes.
You have the music, you have the background music, and the music always want to fit your personality.
Yes.
Okay. Most of the time, if you're performing as a bodybuilder, you want to pick something that's going to fit your personality and your physique, that's going to make you shine on stage. As bikini competitors, wellness competitors, we have a DJ that have the background music that'll fit what they're actually doing. It'll help them walk on stage and make their movements to the nice beat of the music. So that goes a long ways as well. But you have to practice over and over and over to get it right.
Right. Well, hey, y'all. You heard it right here from a former competitor, a promoter, as well as an international judge. Right?
This is correct.
All right. So sounds like to me, you need to be the best you. Just keeping it simple, being the best you. He talks about mindset, and within the office here during this series, the coaches and the trainers, they've been talking about that mindset. He mentioned being focused, staying focused on whatever your goal is, whatever you have in mind. If you're trying to reach that, staying focused.
You have to stay focused. That's key. That's key, focus. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish.
Right. Y'all heard it. Thank you all for tuning in for another session of Tarika Said Again. Please do not forget to share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Addictive Patterns. And we are also on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Have a good one.